When you think about the Digimon franchise, it is something that a lot of people directly compare to the Pokemon franchise. This is because of the name and the fact that both Digimon and Pokemon make RPGs about monster catching and monster taming. Digimon actually started back in the PS1 era, at least as far as video games are concerned, with the original Digimon World games. As far as handhelds are concerned, there aren't a lot of recent Digimon games available. At least until 2 weeks ago, when the very first Digimon game developed for the PlayStation Vita finally came west. So, here is my official review of the PS Vita and PlayStation TV version of Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth. Unlike other games and shows in the Digimon franchise, Cyber Sleuth does not take place in the digital world where Digimon live. Instead, it takes place in the real world as well as the virtual world called Eden, which is basically a VR version of the World Wide Web, allowing you to upload yourself to VR to be able to walk around explorable areas that are actually websites and forums. The main character goes into Eden and quickly becomes involved in an incident with a bunch of hackers. While trying to escape from Eden, they are left with a half-cyber body with their real body having fallen into a coma. Shortly after this, they are recruited by a local detective agency to investigate cyber crimes under the title of Cyber Sleuth and to look for a way to cure their body. Unknown to them, they would eventually uncover a plot revolving around Eden, the real world, as well as strange monsters called Digimon that have appeared in Eden. I'd say the story is pretty standardized and something you could expect from the series. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is a monster catching and dungeon crawling RPG with turn-based combat as well as party and time management systems. Progressing through the game will have you going through story chapters. Every story chapter has sections where you have to do a bunch of side quests for the detective agency before new story events will spawn to push the game forward. These side quests normally involve running through areas or dungeons, doing minor tasks for an NPC, and then getting rewarded afterwards with items and money. Speaking of locations and environments, there are basically three main types of areas you go through. The first is the real world, which has various districts of Tokyo that you can explore to talk to NPCs, shop, or spawn story events. There are environments in Eden that are basically comprised of community areas where you can talk to NPCs, or dungeons where you can fight battles as well as searching for new story events. The last area is called the Digilab. This is where all of your party management is going to take place. There are a lot of services here, like local and online multiplayer, the Digifarm that lets you put Digimon on islands to train and find items for you, the party management area where you can Digivolve and de-Digivolve your party as well as creating new party members. There is a shop for farm items, and there is an area that lets you replay and re-explore past dungeons that you found outside of Eden. When you're exploring dungeons, you will have random encounters with enemy parties as well as chests that you can find to get items to add to your inventory. Basic rundown of the dungeon combat is that you run into random encounters with other Digimon and you fight them with your own party of Digimon. Two main outcomes come out of combat. First of all is winning a battle and getting experience to level up, and the second is to scan the random encounters so you can eventually create them and recruit them into your party. Let's first talk about the actual combat. This is a turn-based game, much like a lot of other Japanese RPGs. There is a gauge on the right-hand side that shows the turn order. When someone's turn comes up, they can put in a command like attacking, using a skill, guarding, swapping out with one of your reserve party members. Then you commence the action, and the next person in line takes their turn, and you keep going until you either win or lose the battle. Capturing is a little different than you might expect if you've played a lot of Pokemon games. When you encounter a Digimon in a random encounter, at the beginning of the battle, you will scan a section of their data. As you encounter the Digimon more and more, you'll rack up more data on them, and once you get that data to 100%, you can go back to the Digilab and create your own copy of that Digimon to recruit into your party. Getting the party you want requires scanning certain Digimon, creating them, and then digivolving them into the forms that you want them to be. Unlike Pokemon, every Digimon has several different tiers to their forms. There is the in training, Rookie, Champion, Ultimate, and Mega forms. And to be able to evolve, you have to meet level requirements as well as other requirements. For example, some of the evolution lines are only available to you if you buy the game right after launch, where you still have the DLC bundle available, while others require you to be a certain level and have certain stats at or above a certain point. Knowing these requirements well is key to getting your evolution going and very required when you start getting to the Ultimate and Mega stages. That will bring us to the ability stat, or the ABI stat. ABI is a requirement for high tier evolutions. To make ABI increase, you don't level up your Digimon, but you de-digivolve them to a prior form. So, if you have an Ultimate, and the Mega form requires you to have 80 ABI, but you only have 70, you're going to have to de-digivolve that Ultimate back to a Champion, retrain the Champion back to Ultimate, and retrain the Ultimate to go up to the Mega form. This system is both good and bad at the same time. The good thing is that it's really in depth, especially when compared to the Pokemon games. But the bad is that every time you digivolve or de-digivolve, the level is reset to level 1, which means you have a lot of retraining to do. If you don't like grinding in RPGs, this is definitely something that will feel more like a chore to you. The last thing I'll say about gameplay is the length. Across the entire game and the 20 story chapters there are, a normal player who isn't a completionist will likely be spending between 40 and 50 hours on this game. You can further your playtime with New Game Plus after you beat the game. There aren't any new dungeons or bosses added with New Game Plus, but it's basically carrying over all of your data into a new game. When we go into presentation, this game is quite impressive. The cell shading in the game is done really well. There's a huge number of details going in here, but the best part about this is how faithful it is to the Digimon franchise. If you watch the original Digimon anime, you will likely remember all of the battle animations that anime did. Cyber Sleuth incorporates all of those battle animations right down to the camera angles when you see all of those signature moves. The developer really went a long way to make sure that this was as faithful to the source material as they possibly could. Performance I have no issues with. I saw very few, if any, frame drops as I played through the game, and the load times never exceeded maybe 4, 5, maybe 6 seconds. From the first day this was available, people were saying that it had a high production value, and you can really tell once you start playing the game. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is a game that a lot of Digimon fans have only dreamed of seeing on the Vita in the West, but it is now a reality. While the Digivolution system does require some extensive grinding, this is a beautiful turn-based RPG with a surprisingly deep management system. No fan of the franchise with a Vita can afford to miss out on this game. Reviews2Go rates Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth a 9 out of 10. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below or head to my site at www.reviews2go.com.